In this video, I'm going to talk you through the code of a React.js web app I developed recently. The app is a simple chatbot that uses the same API as ChatGPT, namely the OpenAI Chat API. The app takes a user message, posts it to the API, then displays the response. A conversation history gradually builds up between you and the ChatAI. Unlike previous videos, I won't type out the code as this is time consuming, but I'll walk you through the steps to create an empty React project and application, then add the classes as I go along. In the description, I'll add a link to the GitHub Repository where you can download the project and have a look for yourself. So let's get started. I'm going to use VS Code for this. I've created a working directory called React-Chatbot. You'll need to have Node.js installed on your system, so run this command to check if you have it. I'll put the link to the Node.js runtime in the description in case you need to download it and install it. So I want to create a template React web app by running this command. So you can change directory. And then I want to install the React Bootstrap modules. I'll just start the development server just to make sure everything's been created correctly. That's npm start. So I'm going to open up the folder structure. I'm going to create a file, chatmain.js. So chatmain is the React component that will handle user input, and it will handle posting a request to the API. So just to talk you through it. So here we're doing some imports, React library and its component module, form, button, spinner components. The output form is a React component. I'll add that in a little while. And then we're importing some CSS styles. So we're creating an array to store the chat messages, a string to store the current user message, and then a Boolean value to indicate when the post request is awaiting. So the main method is called handle submit. First line here prevents the page from being reloaded. And then we're making the loading state true so that the waiting spinner gets activated. Here we're preparing the data for the API request. So we're using the ChatGPT 3.5 turbo model. This is the message that we'll be passing in. This is the URL of the OpenAI chat endpoint. It's a post method. I'll be deleting this key after the video, so you'll need to add your own key in this section here. So this is the response data, and this block of code here extracts the message. So write it to a variable called assistant message, which is set here. So this is the render method. We're extracting messages, user message, and is loading properties from the state object. So this is the form. So we've got a form control, which is the user input, setting the width there of 600, and the button, which is of type submit, and then this spinner component activates when we're doing a post request because it's asynchronous. So going to app.js, I want to import chat main. I also want to delete So chat main now becomes the entry point for the web app. So I want to import Bootstrap, remove this line. So we're importing the chat main component, we're importing Bootstrap, and we're making chat main the entry point to the app. So I want to create the JS file called output. So we're passing data in, and it's being extracted from the props passed to the component. So if we just go back to chat main, this is where we call in output form, and the data that we're sending in is the message content. Replacing new line characters in data just to give it some styling, some formatting. And then we're returning the formatted data within a label element. Okay, so save that. I just want to make a few changes to the CSS. So set the background to a certain color. Same for the app header. Okay, let's see how that runs. So here I'll enter a message. So we're passing the request that activates the spinner. So we see the response. It's quite a long response. That's something else. So as the conversation history builds up, the newest questions are at the top.